Hey cats, it's Ed, midsole now, Bud here. So many times I've been asked,
Ed, which of the top level super shoes are the best?
I can only buy one pair, which should I buy? I've lost count of how many times that people have asked the question in the comments, so in today's video I'm going to aim to try to answer that one once and for all. Which of the currently available super shoes is the absolute best option for your money? Let's get to it. Welcome back, thanks for tuning in, hit that subscribe button, also give this video a thumbs up like, it really helps out. Let's get straight in there. So I'm going to try and figure out which of the currently available super shoes is the absolute best. I'm going to score the shoes on various different aspects, the fit of the upper, that underfoot feel, probably most important really, the grip on the outsole, and then I'm going to look at price and kind of what you get for all of it. Firstly, I'm going to discount a couple of shoes from the actual selection today, otherwise it's going to be an incredibly long-winded video. I've whittled it down to about 7 that I feel were sort of up there. The ALPHAFLY 2 was one that was fab for me over the first 60 miles. Then I had to remove the insoles and replace them with something that's a little bit wider to cover that arch. I just can't really recommend that model for anybody, so I'm not going to include it today. I'm not including the Saucony Sen 8 or 9 from ADIDAS either. I think the 8 and 9 are much of a muchness between each other. I feel it might be one of the less relevant shoes to include today due to the narrow width. I am going to have in there the ASICS METASPEEDSKY, we got the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN Pro 3, a couple of shoes from PUMA, the Fast R NITRO Elite, and also the DEVIATE NITRO Elite 2. We got the HOKA Rocket X, and I think everybody will want to see where I put the VAPORFLY 3. The other reason I'm doing this video is that a number of the shoes in today's selection are now discounted, so perhaps if you've got a marathon coming up in like a couple of months or something, then it might be on your mind as to which one to pick up. I'm not including the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro, also the Saucony Endorphin Elite, or that on-running Cloud Boom Echo 3 either. I haven't used those shoes, so I can't speak from my own personal experiences. I don't think there's any point me trying to evaluate shoes that I haven't worn against ones that I've put like 100 miles into or something. So points will be given out out of 5 for each shoe on each category. Let's get started with the upper. So in terms of upper, there's 2 shoes that really stick out for me. That's the HOKA Rocket X2 and the ASICS METASPEEDSKY Plus. These 2 really stick out for me in terms of superb wrap around the foot. Though the other one that really works out for me too is the PUMA DEVIATE NITRO Elite 2. It's just so simple in terms of the design, you just can't go wrong. Lace up, tie up, set and forget. You just don't need to worry about it. I also found it perfect for my foot. Some people may find it a little narrow up front. I think the same can be said about the Fast R NITRO Elite as well. It does taper in quite a bit on that lateral side in the toe box. The HOKA's a really great one though. It does wrap around the foot. There's ample room here in the toe box. I just found it to be a really insanely comfortable shoe no matter how many miles I put in. Again, simplicity in the METASPEEDSKY Plus here in the upper. There's no bells and whistles, you just tie up the thing and it just does the job. I think that's partly down to the lower profile of the upper around the foot. The PUMA, the ASICS and the Rocket X all seem to have some great materials there, don't seem to absorb too much moisture. It's just a really comfortable connection with the midsole. That's kind of what you want from your upper. I found the VAPORFLY great for breathability, but in terms of toe box height, there's just way too much there. Very, very generous. Though it was unsightly on foot because of the bunching in the front of the shoe, it did provide a really good lockdown onto the midsole. I found the Endorphin Pro a little bit too narrow in both medial and lateral areas of the toe box. I did get a little bit of tongue slide as well with the Endorphin Pro 3. I did find it a little bit difficult to dial in the fit sometimes with the Endorphin Pro 3, but have no doubts it is one of the lightest out there. One shoe that didn't quite work in terms of the upper for me was that ADIOS Pro 3. Just seemed to spend ages messing around with these quite thin laces here, which was a real shame because there's other parts of the shoe that really kick it. Hopefully they'll do something with the 4 to remove the difficulty here that I had trying to get a good lockdown. So 2 points to the ADIOS Pro 3. Due to the wonderful lightness of the shoe, I'll give 4 points to the upper of the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, 3 points to the VAPORFLY 3, 4 points to the ASICS METASPEEDSKY Plus, and I'm giving that 5 to the Rocket X2. Both PUMA shoes there, 4 points for the upper fit. So in terms of the underfoot feel now, the Rocket X2, certainly a favourite of mine. Lovely sort of smooth action there, and I think the upgraded foam here that we have in this HOKA model is part of the reason why it's so good. It's hard not to love that effortless feel though that you get in the VAPORFLY 3, though I did find that it quickly dulled after around about 100 miles. Now the same cannot be said about the ADIOS Pro 3. I think the actual foam's better now after 100 odd miles than it was out the box. Maybe the same can be also said about the METASPEEDSKY Plus from ASICS too. Just seems to keep on going, this shoe. Just gets better and better the more I use it. And the SAUCONY Endorphin Pro 3 seems to hold on to that awesome compression underfoot. It's just way more resilient, I suppose, than the VAPORFLY's proved to be so far. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't send the VAPORFLY as an uncomfortable shoe now, but I just feel that, yeah, this one and a few others have proved to be better over time. I think that Rocket X2 perhaps could suffer again from the same fate as the VAPORFLY. Still feels good, but I think durability and longevity of that PUMA foam, perhaps it isn't quite as good as the others. Maybe it's down to the beaded nature of the Pebax foam in the SAUCONY shoe that it's seemed to continue and retain some of its magic there, though I don't feel it's got the same explosive feel as you've got in the ASICS and ADIDAS shoe. With the HOKA, it could be down to that rocker shape that it's getting you to run in a more specific way. It's perhaps tuned a little bit more for like half marathon and marathon pace. Something like the VAPORFLY, I think you can use pretty much across any of the distances. Quite a few people have said to me they've tried out the Fastyle Nitro Elite and found it quite tough. Not really feeling that right now. Running about 7:30 pace the other day for 8 miles, and it was just superb. Really engaging sort of ride. I do like that firmer foam here in the heel. It's super soft up front, guys. Certainly a more aggressive shoe, does want to run fast. Not one I can recommend for sort of slower saunters, but if you're buying a race shoe, then you're not going to be doing that. You're going to be going all out. Really does feel special in hand, this one. There's something else about it. Got some real attitude. Certainly the most versatile, though, underfoot feel of all of the shoes really comes from the DEVIATE Nitro Elite 2. You can run any pace in this one. I think you can get a lot out of it in training as well. Probably not the fastest of all of the race shoes out there, or the most propulsive even, but yeah, certainly for me, it's probably the most usable. So if that's what you want, something you can use and enjoy every day, then this one's right up there. With all of these shoes, I've hit almost 100 miles, or I'm coming up for that, so I've got some reasonably good experience to talk from. I'm going to give 4 points for the ADIOS Pro 3, which I found to be excellent at marathon pace, but not quite as versatile as the previous versions. 4 points for the Endorphin Pro 3, which again is a shoe dialed in for marathon speeds, but lacks a little bit of that propulsion from other models. Rocket X2 with 4 points. It's one that took some time to get used to, though I'm finding it again is locked in for that marathon to half marathon pace. The VAPORFLY 3 isn't perhaps exactly what it was out the box, but it is versatile, it does fly with that magnificent weight to cushion ratio. So I'll give that 4 points. 5 points for the METASPEEDSKY Plus from my experiences. That minimal profile of the shoes, midsole round the foot, placing all the foam where I need it. So definitely worth the 5 points. I'm also going to give 5 points to the PUMA Fast R Nitro Elite. That for me is an aggressive shoe, gives me vibes of the Tempo Next Percent, but without the weight. And 4 points for the DEVIATE Nitro Elite 2. That one's probably the most versatile out of the whole bunch. Now, all of these shoes are very, very cushioned and forgiving underfoot. I don't think you can go far wrong, really. There's something perhaps a little bit different to each other. There's certainly a very forgiving feel to every single one if you're running like a half or full marathon. So grip-wise, I'm going to start off with the SAUCONY Endorphin Pro 3. I think the grip that we had in the Pro 3 was an improvement over the V1 and V2, but I did find with a very compressive foam here that some of the rubber almost sort of disappears into the heel of the shoe, and some of that exposed midsole foam here does take a real pounding. In sort of race conditions though, it was okay. It wasn't the best of the bunch by any means. For this round, I think I'll give the grip 2 points for the Endorphin Pro 3. A bit slippery on some wet roads, and oddly performed better actually when you had some debris underneath it, perhaps if you're running on some paths or concrete. Rocket X2 next, you've got some considerable rubber actually up front in the mid to forefoot of the shoe, and they do expand that rubber back fairly far into the heel, though I have got some considerable wear already on the lateral side of the heel in my my pair in the August rain. It just doesn't quite cut it for me. Pretty good, but yeah, not the best of the bunch. It's not a total traction travesty, and it's fine lines when you get to this sort of part of the review. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 this time. VAPORFLY 3 next. I've actually found this one to be reasonably good after 100 miles. It's certainly an improvement over the V1 and V2, that sort of foam-like rubber we had in the mid-forefoot. Grip's good on toe-off, and one of the better Nike shoes from that aspect, certainly. But you can't have it all when it comes to race shoes. Either you want something to be very light or you want some really good durability. The application here on the VAPORFLY 3 is very, very thin. That does mean reduced durability in the long run, no pun intended. I'll give the VAPORFLY outsole 3 points. 4 points for the ASICS METASPEEDSKY Plus. This almost ping pong bat style application here is really, really good in both dry and wet weather. I just wish they'd expand it back a little bit further into the heel there, where I did get some wear in the outsole. So I think it's worthy of 4 points. ADIOS Pro 3 next from ADIDAS. Now, this shoe overall might not be the best in terms of versatility, but it's one of the best when it comes to outsole grip. Heaven knows what Continental put into their rubber here, but it was really fantastic. Barely any wear whatsoever after 100 miles, and the heel and the mid to forefoot look absolutely fantastic. Works well in both wet and dry conditions, and actually seems to improve over time. How many outsoles can you say do that? 5 points for this one, due to that improvement over the miles. The PUMA Fast R Nitro Elite next. Now, I do like the grip on this shoe, but one thing I don't like is having to remove all the debris and bits and pieces that build up in that mid to forefoot area. It's kind of worse actually back here as well. There's so many little holes and crevices and stuff that you just get loads and loads of stowaways. I've not had any problems with durability though. There's a really quite thick application of PUMA grip here. I just wish it didn't suck up the rocks and stuff like a Dyson. I think I'll give it a 3 for outsole. And last but not least, one of the best of the bunch, the PUMA DEVIATE NITRO Elite 2. I absolutely love the outsole rubber on this shoe. Very versatile, superb traction. I don't think there's anything I'd really change about the outsole here. It really is absolutely fantastic. I found it just works on anything, wet, dry, smooth, whatever. And there's barely any wear after 100 miles. So after fit, underfoot feel and grip, I've got some total scores for you. 13 for the DEVIATE NITRO Elite 2, the Fast R Nitro Elite with 12, VAPORFLY 3 has 10, and the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN Pro 3 has 10, ADIOS Pro 3 from ADIDAS with 10 points, and the Rocket X2 with 11. That leaves 13 points for the ASICS METASPEEDSKY Plus. Certainly though, if we're talking value now at that retail price for each of these shoes, I think there's two that really come up trumps for me. If you're looking purely at value for your money, that DEVIATE NITRO Elite 2 is right up there. It's light, it's nimble, and it does lots of things very, very well. I think you'll get a lot of nice, enjoyable miles out of the shoe, and you can race in it too. On the other side of things, if you want something to race in that's very nimble, it feels very aggressive, propulsive, then the ASICS METASPEEDSKY Plus could be the right one. Though it's not going to be for everybody, I think you want to sort of leave this one back as your sort of race shoe and premium training shoe. Doesn't quite have the same durability level, but in terms of performance from me, it really works out. Again, another one for performance from me. The Fast R Nitro Elite really does the trick. I think it's the balance between the foams here. It just makes you feel up for it, like you really want to get up to that sort of 5th gear. Though I'd suggest it's not going to be the sort of shoe that everybody's going to want to wear. It is a very aggressive beast, this one. Other honourable mention, I think, to the Rocket X2. I love the upper fit here and the underfoot feel. There's a few tweaks though that I hope we'll see in a Rocket X3, perhaps in the outsole. I hope that's made things a little bit clearer for you guys. A lot of these shoes have come down quite a bit from their retail prices right now. Perhaps aside from the Rocket X2, I think you can pick up any of those on a discount. If you've got any more questions for me, or you've got some of your own experiences you'd like to convey to some other runners, let us know down in the comments. I did run a poll recently on the community section of the channel asking which of the remaining race shoes do you want me to test out. There's a clear leader at the moment in the Endorphin Elite from SAUCONY. I was quite surprised actually at the results here. It does seem that you're very interested in the Power Run HG. So I'll see if I can pick up a pair of those on discount very, very soon. Musical interlude time. You guys all know I've got a very varied music taste. 1 minute I can be listening to Travis Scott, and then the next minute perhaps something from Slim Whitman. I absolutely love Slim Whitman's voice. When you consider when he recorded a lot of these tracks, a lot of these songs, there was no technical wizardry, no magic boxes to make him sound better. He just had to produce the sound, produce the performance, and that's what was captured. There's some fantastic pedal steel and lap steel guitar as well in Slim Whitman tunes. Always an arrangement to go around the vocal. That was the main thing people wanted to hear. The singing cowboy. Rosemary and Serenade are amongst my favourites. There's such a wonderful, cool, effortless feel about his delivery and such a wonderful tone to his voice as well. It really is quite comforting to listen to him. Especially when it's like a sort of humid summer night or something. Put on some Slim Whitman and just stare out the window as the sun goes down. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed this rather strange episode. We've had the best of the Super Shoes and Slim Whitman too. It's a winning combination. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're getting close to 43,000 subscribers now. I can't quite believe it. Thank you very much. Also, give this video a thumbs up like. It really does help out. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you